Clarity Clinical Solutions.
Clinical development is the systematic process of bringing a new drug or therapy from the research laboratory to patients who need it. This multi-phase journey ensures that any new medicine is both safe and effective before it reaches the public. Over the course of a decade or more, a promising molecule passes through rigorous testing, regulatory review, and manufacturing scale-up. Understanding this pipeline is essential for every clinical research professional, as it provides the roadmap for all clinical trial activities. Today we will explore the key phases and milestones that define clinical development. Clinical development encompasses all activities from first-in-human studies through regulatory approval and post-market surveillance. It is the translation of preclinical discoveries into tangible patient benefits. This process involves designing studies, recruiting participants, collecting data, analyzing results, and submitting evidence to health authorities. The primary goal is to generate robust evidence about a drug's safety, efficacy, and optimal use. Clinical development is heavily regulated by agencies like the FDA, EMA, and MHRA to protect patient safety while advancing medical science. It is the backbone of evidence-based medicine. Before any drug enters human testing, it must undergo extensive preclinical research. This includes in vitro laboratory studies on cells and tissues, as well as in vivo animal studies to assess pharmacological activity, safety, and toxicology. Preclinical work determines the drug's mechanism of action, absorption and metabolism characteristics, and potential toxicity at various dose levels. These studies help researchers estimate a safe starting dose for humans. Typically, preclinical research takes 3 to 6 years. Only about 1 in 5,000 compounds that enter preclinical testing ever reaches human trials. Phase 1 trials are the first step in testing a new drug in humans. These studies typically enroll 20 to 100 healthy volunteers, though some oncology trials may involve patients. The primary objective is to evaluate safety, tolerability, and the drug's pharmacokinetic profile, how the body absorbs, distributes, metabolizes, and excretes the compound. Researchers carefully monitor adverse events and establish the maximum tolerated dose. Phase 1 trials are closely observed, often in specialized clinical pharmacology units. They usually last several months to a year. Phase 2 trials expand testing to several hundred patients who have the condition the drug aims to treat. These studies provide the first meaningful evidence of therapeutic efficacy. Researchers evaluate the drug's effectiveness at various doses and further characterize its safety profile. Phase 2 trials are often randomized and may include a control group receiving placebo or standard treatment. The goal is to identify the optimal dose and dosing regimen for Phase 3. Approximately 30% of drugs advance from Phase 2 to Phase 3, making this a critical decision point in development. Phase 3 trials are large, randomized, and often multinational studies enrolling hundreds to thousands of patients. They are designed to confirm the drug's efficacy, monitor side effects, and compare the treatment to standard options or placebo. These trials generate the definitive evidence that regulatory agencies evaluate for marketing approval. Phase 3 trials are the most expensive and time-consuming phase, often lasting several years and costing hundreds of millions of dollars. A well-designed Phase 3 program is the cornerstone of any successful regulatory submission. After successful Phase 3 trials, the sponsor compiles all preclinical and clinical data into a comprehensive regulatory submission. In the United States, this is called a New Drug Application or NDA. The submission includes detailed reports on chemistry, manufacturing, pharmacology, toxicology, clinical trial results, and proposed labeling. Regulatory agencies assign a review team of physicians, statisticians, pharmacologists, and other experts to evaluate the evidence. The review process typically takes 6 to 12 months, though priority reviews can be completed faster for drugs addressing unmet medical needs. If the regulatory agency determines that the drug's benefits outweigh its risks, marketing authorization is granted. Approval includes specific indications for use, dosing instructions, contraindications, and required labeling. However, approval is not the final step. Health technology assessment bodies evaluate the drug's cost-effectiveness to determine reimbursement and market access. Pricing and market access negotiations vary by country and significantly influence whether patients can receive the new therapy. Conditional approvals may require additional confirmatory studies after marketing. Phase 4 studies occur after a drug is approved and marketed. These post-marketing surveillance studies monitor the drug's long-term safety and effectiveness in larger, more diverse patient populations. Real-world evidence collected during Phase 4 may reveal rare adverse events not detected in pre-approval trials. Sponsors are required to submit periodic safety reports to regulators. Phase 4 studies can also explore new indications, alternative dosing regimens, or use in special populations such as children or pregnant women. This phase continues for the entire commercial life of the drug. Regulatory agencies offer several special designations to expedite development of drugs for serious or life-threatening conditions. Orphan drug designation provides incentives for rare disease treatments. Fast track, breakthrough therapy, and priority review designations facilitate more frequent regulatory interactions and faster review timelines. The accelerated approval pathway allows approval based on surrogate endpoints. These programs can significantly reduce development time but require careful planning and ongoing commitment to confirm clinical benefit in post-marketing studies. Clinical development requires coordination among many specialized professionals. Clinical research associates monitor study sites and ensure protocol compliance. Data managers oversee collection and validation of clinical data. Biostatisticians design analysis plans and interpret results. Medical writers prepare regulatory documents and study reports. Principal investigators lead the research at study sites. Regulatory affairs specialists interface with health authorities. Project managers keep development timelines on track. Effective collaboration across these roles is essential for successful clinical development programs. Clinical development is governed by Good Clinical Practice, or GCP, an international ethical and scientific quality standard. GCP principles require that clinical trials be conducted in accordance with the Declaration of Helsinki, protecting the rights, safety, and well-being of subjects. Key requirements include independent ethics committee review, informed consent from all participants, and meticulous source documentation. GCP compliance is enforced through inspections by regulatory authorities. Adherence to these standards ensures the credibility of clinical trial data and the protection of human subjects throughout the development process. Drug development faces significant challenges including high attrition rates and escalating costs. Only about 1 in 10 drugs that enter Phase 1 testing ultimately receives regulatory approval. The average cost to develop a new drug is estimated at over $1 billion when accounting for failures. Patient recruitment remains a major bottleneck, with nearly 80% of trials failing to enroll on time. Increasing regulatory complexity, evolving standards of care, and the need for precision medicine approaches all add layers of difficulty. Addressing these challenges requires innovation in trial design and operational efficiency. Clinical development transforms scientific discoveries into approved therapies through a carefully structured sequence of phases. From preclinical research through post-market surveillance, each phase addresses specific questions about safety, efficacy, and optimal use. The process requires rigorous adherence to regulatory standards, collaboration among diverse professionals, and unwavering commitment to patient safety. While drug development is costly and challenging, it remains the most reliable pathway to bringing life-saving treatments to patients. Understanding this pipeline is fundamental knowledge for anyone working in clinical research.